We were founded in 1998, and our goal is to arrest the growth of blindness in India. We build hospitals and perform free eye surgeries. Currently, we are performing around 200,000 free eye surgeries every year. Goal is to take it to 1 million free surgeries by the year 2030, which will kind of arrest the growth of blindness in India. That will be a
Mm.
significant milestone. That is our dream. We want to
Okay.
get there somehow. That's a
Like, I
goal.
like that. I like that. Thank you for that. Let's go to Ranjani ji. Ranjani ji, Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation. We know they are doing such a phenomenal job in the tribal villages and helping out those individuals with education. That's a key thing. Tell us about it a little more.
Yeah, thank you so much. ECAL is an organization whose focus is the holistic development of remote rural villages, villages that don't have roads within 6 kilometers of those areas. Our
Mm.
first intervention was education, and we run single teacher schools in 100,000 rural remote villages, both in India and in Nepal. Now, in the more recent times, we've also added two other verticals, which is health and skill training. We have started to bring ideas that will help the villagers get not just education but also get economic empowerment so that they can really attain their potential fully. Most recently, we have added digital literacy to our offerings because we know if you're digitally illiterate, you are illiterate in the modern times. So
Mm.
really an honor to be here. And as we have touched 3 million children in 100,000 villages.
Nice, congratulations for that. Let's go to Mr. Yagnesh Bhai, BAPS. BAPS, hardly anybody out there who has not heard of BAPS because it's a global charity organization. Yes, in a way it's a religious also, but what they do with the charity and then, become part of humanitarian relief activities throughout the year, no matter whether it's in India or outside India. And they're active in 9 countries and the 5 continents. That obviously shows the strength of their spread, and that's amazing. Yagnesh bhai, what would you like to say in the opening remarks?
Sanjay bhai, thank you. BAPS Charities, as you mentioned, we are a Hindu spiritual organization, BAPS, and BAPS Charities is our social arm. I want to take back the audience to a book written by former President of India, APJ Abdul Kalam. He
Yes.
wrote a
Mm.
book with his experiences. The book's name is Transcendence. And in there, he asks Pramukh Swami Maharaj, the inspirer of BAPS and BAPS Charities, and he asks, how can you make spirituality and service? And Pramukh Swami Maharaj said, how can you separate the two? With that being the bedrock, devotion being the bedrock of the service, BAPS Charities serves in health and wellness, in which
Mm.
health fairs gives access to care to many uninsured, education, which is investing in young people as the future leaders of our world, environmental causes, in which giving back to the planet that gives us life, and also focusing in humanitarian, stepping up to meet the urgent needs of the hour, whether it's disaster relief, hurricanes, earthquakes, as recent as COVID-19. Those are some
Yes.
of the areas that we would focus. And obviously, community activities, which make an impact close to home, where our volunteers, and being a Hindu, bhakti is essential.
Yes.
This service is part of bhakti, devotion. And when
Mm.
you are doing something with spiritually enriched thinking, your selflessness comes out. You have no borders. Sky's the limit in what you can do for others.
Very nice, and you've been doing phenomenal job. Interesting. All three of you come from very different angles, and that is very, very impressive. I must say that. Let's talk about BAPS. Yes, BAPS is known because of their temples and everything. And Yagnesh Bhai mentioned about Pramukh Swami Maharaj, who has tirelessly dedicated his entire life to BAPS and build this foundation based on charity and working on humanitarian relief. So they have that angle. Murliji and Sankarai Foundation is they are focusing one thing is to give vision to the individual, eyes being the most important part of one's life. Through eyes they can see the world, and your vision is only to give life, to give that vision. That is important. And Ranjani ji, who represents Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation, community empowerment and education. Education is the key thing. So all three of you, they come from amazing, very impressive background. It's good to have you. Let's talk about charity. Charity is backbone of humanity. We know that the charity is important, and we all should be giving something, but not everybody believes in that. And then we're going to lead this conversation into it, that why should they be giving out charity to any of the organization which will go and help to somebody out there. Ranjani ji, I'd like to begin with you. Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation, day in day out, they are expanding, they are doing great job. When and how did you become part of it, and what is so special about charity to you?
Right. I want to say that the reason I got involved in ACL, this happened about 15 years ago, where I was a donor and a supporter. And later in 2013, I became the executive director for ACL, is
Hmm.
that I strongly believe in the edict that, what is it? Annadanam Mahadanam, but Vidyadanam Mahattaram. The
Hmm.
only biggest donation you can do is education, because it leads for a life. If
Yes.
we think about ourselves, right, when we went to school, it was a donation to us.
Hmm.
People put us through school. That was charity to us. I went to Kendriya Vidyalaya. I went to IIT Bombay. They were all supported by government charity, quote unquote. I didn't,
Hmm.
pay as much for it. And so if I don't give back, then, I am not doing anything good for the humanity, because this is how human race works, right? Somebody gives charity, brings the young children up, and then they contribute to making mankind or humankind a better place that there is. My own father is a very good example. He came from a village school like this, from a remote village. And then later he went on to establish IIT Bombay and became the dean at IIT Bombay. So impactful things come when somebody takes the time and the effort to give some charity. So Ekal Vidyalaya, we run our schools at $1 a day. Everybody
Hmm.
has $1 a day to
Yes,
give.
exactly.
And when you give $1, you're giving education to 30 children, 30 families, 30 generations of families who are
Yes.
now going to come ahead, because their minds are going to be opened. And once
Hmm.
you have educated, you don't need to feed them all the time. You don't need to give food, because they will be capable of taking care of themselves and you. Now we are in a global connected economy where every particle, COVID has shown us that every human being is interconnected. If we don't support every human being here, we are going to be in trouble in the future.
Interesting. Very well said. Murli ji, you being founder of Sankarai Foundation and doing such a fine job giving vision, building hospitals everywhere in India, and you are working tirelessly, I know you, for many years to raise funds. Why do you find charity a very difficult task to do? It's a year round. You sitting around. I know you gave up your full time job to work for Sankarai Foundation to build up the foundation and for the charities. And you have done many. You organize many events, fundraising events, to the concerts, musical concerts, and the other events to raise funds. Why charity is the most important thing, and what kind of message you're giving out to the people to donate to Sankarai Foundation?
Yeah, I'm going to quote Swami Vivekananda. First thing is, one thing is, basically due to my uncle's tremendous pressure, me and my brother started. But now
Hmm.
I'm thinking that this is the best thing that could have happened in my life. I couldn't have
Oh.
asked for anything more. So
Hmm.
by opening so many eyes, we opened so far 2 million eyes, Sanjeev ji. By opening so many external eyes, I think that my internal eye will be slowly opened. And right in 3 4 years, we took a big vision of eradicating curable blindness based on Swami Vivekananda's teaching, who
Hmm.
says, "आपके अंदर सबके अंदर पूरा ताकत है." You just have to realize that nothing can stop you. There is no limitation in the world whatsoever. That's our thinking in Sankara. If we do Dandiya, it has to be the best. We are not competing against anybody. We have to bring out our best. Make whatever you do, no, build hospitals all over the country. So Swamiji says, even if you are a thief, don't be a petty thief, be a big thief, and think big. That is our fundamental philosophy. And another thing Swamiji says, sometimes we say, oh, we completed 2 million surgeries. Swamiji again says, अरे ये भगवान ने बनाया दुनिया को, so it's your opportunity whether you are there or not. World is
Hmm.
going to go on. Some other person, Mohan, will come, Murli nahi hai to. So this is the opportunity you got to do good, so you are the blessed one. Now, initially, I thought I was doing good to others, Sanjeev ji. Now
Mm.
I'm realizing if I were a IT guy, I would have been rotting somewhere waiting for my next layoff. See how much I'm enjoying this and making, hopefully, making some spiritual progress, and that is due to this charity.
Mm.
And as Vignesh Bhai and Ranjani said, by helping others, you're forgetting your worries, you're making progress. So don't think of helping others as something you're doing for others, you're doing for yourself, you're progressing in life, you're becoming a better person. And as Yagnesh Bhai said, when you think you are doing something, you're boxing yourself in a small box. So
Mm.
even give that thought that you are doing, then the whole existence will work with you. There is no limitation for you. These
But
are
that is
the things.
that is your personal side. That's your personal opinion. That's your personal feeling. But my
Yes.
question to you is that charity, how hard or important it is for you to deliver that message to people, to give donation to build hospital, to have the equipment in a hospital for these surgeries. You really have to go out there to convince them.
Yes.
Over the years, how difficult have you found to raise funds?
Luckily, as Ranjani said, we also have a good product, Open an Eye for $30. Right from the beginning, our board members, very intelligent people, they said, Murliji, just market that. If you
Hmm.
see ourselves TV, see even Coca-Cola needs advertisement. So Sankara is very big in advertisement. Your ZTV, Namaste, Radio Zindagi, we are everywhere. Just
You're
trying
there.
to convey, just
Yeah.
open an eye. $30 you open an eye, give life to the whole
Hmm.
family. Many
Hmm.
poor people, one person is working in the field, he cannot see, the whole life stops. Give them eye surgery for $30, his life opens up. And then
Hmm.
he become a positive contribution to the society.
Hmm.
So once we show results, Sanjeev ji, and
Then
also,
people,
yeah, we are on
then they
fourth,
start to have faith.
Charity Navigator top 4-star rating for almost 11 times.
Hmm.
That means commitment to accountability, transparency, governance, and keeping the overheads low. Such a
Hmm.
trustworthy organization, I tell people, आप आंख बंद करके donate कीजिए, हम
Hmm.
आंखें खोलेंगे. So
Wow.
people have enormous trust in Sankara. So I tell our people in India, there is no limit for us to raise funds. Somebody
Hmm.
initially said our limit will be 2 million. We reached 10 million. Now we do 6 million, 7 million. So I don't accept any limitation. That's how our volunteers think. That's how our volunteers think. And so that is it. So I can put a big project in front of people. Biharis will come, others will come. Want to do a project in Orissa, people will come. We can do
Hmm.
multiple projects targeting different groups of Indians all over the country, all over the world. So
Nice.
I don't think of any limitations, Sanjeev ji.
Just
I
go
wish
out
I
there,
were
spread the
younger.
message. Just go out there, spread the message, stick with it, and continue to perform, continue to deliver through the message, and then people will come and donate the funds.
Be honest, there should not be any agenda. No
Ah.
power, no money. It should be pure selfless service, knowing that you are achieving the biggest thing in life, spiritual journey, no? उससे ज़्यादा
Hmm.
क्या चाहिए हमें life में? So
बिल्कुल.
once you have that thing, then there's no limitation.
Okay, let's go to Yagnesh Bhai. Yagnesh Bhai, as we all know, of course, BAPS, no matter how much I say, it will not be enough, but with out of respect, we say BAPS and the temples and everything. I know, first question I have is that do you believe that more temples are needed? Obviously, जैसा मुरली जी ने कहा कि, to open someone's life through vision is important. Do you believe to change someone's life, temples are important, and temples are the best place to raise charity?
So that's a great question. Just as an eye needs a hospital, a child needs a book, and education needs a school. Temples are areas, are environments in which one's spirit gets enriched, right?
Mm,
The environment, the spirituality, if you look at our credo, is the spirit of service. And to enrich that spirit, to ignite that fire within, as our symbol says, what we have learned at BAPS is that people are the backbone of giving, right?
mm,
And people give to people, and constant connection, relationships is what inspires giving. And that can only happen when you bring people together. A platform such as a mandir opens up that platform to people to come together. The other thing we have learned at BAPS Charity is leadership is the key.
mm,
Our gurus inspire generosity by their actions and way of life. They lead by examples, giving completely of themselves, to the overall process and progress of others. Additionally, if you look, mandirs mobilize people around a sense of community, right? Whether it's a Hindu gurudwara, a Christian church, Islam mosque, masjid, temples, all this bring people together towards a community that has its efforts and togetherness that amplifies the giving. One
Mm.
sees another giving, it amplifies the giving. And I think also learning to give selflessly is a lifelong pursuit. It's not one moment, $1 donated. It's a lifelong pursuit that it has the power to transform a person from within. And that is really the essence of seva. And that is what is inspired in mandirs and other places where community come together to do
Mm.
something in the joy of others.
जी बिल्कुल। हमारे हमारे कल्चर में हमने बचपन से ये सीखा है कि वॉट एवर यू मेक इन अ ईयर, वॉट एवर द अमाउंट दैट यू मेक, यू शुड डोनेट, लेट्स से 5%, 10%, 15%, वॉट एवर इट इज, टू द चैरिटीज। और जब चैरिटीज की बात आती है तो सबसे पहले मंदिर का नाम आता है, बिकॉज टेम्पल में डोनेट करो, बिकॉज टेम्पल में वहीं पे भगवान होते हैं, वहीं पे टेम्पल में डोनेट करो। Yagnesh, question that I have for you is that BAPS that I know having perhaps close to zero operating cost because it's all volunteer based and having no operating cost. So charity comes in a huge number, and you reach out to the people and help out it. BAPS is an exception. Not every single temple is doing that. Where that goes. I mean, how did you come up with the thought that money which comes in, obviously that can be used to build temples, but it should be used for humanitarian relief also. What are the main humanitarian relief work that is done by BAPS, and what more that you would like to do for in the name of humanity?
Yeah, so the money that comes in for the temples are obviously very separate from our charity activities, BAPS charities. The funding that comes into BAPS is very separate than the funding that goes to BAPS charities. However, you brought up a great point about zero operating cost,
Hmm.
and that only can happen, and it's only realized because everybody that is in this organization are full-time, are volunteers, either full-time, part-time. Myself, I'm a professional, but give my donation in terms of money, donation in terms of time, donation in terms of my intellect, donation in terms of my physical ability.
Hmm.
And that is what brings that form. Now, you also asked a question around BAPS charities and its activities. Let me give you one example how, BAPS in itself uh, has come together. So, you mentioned earlier about some of the activities we do is walkathons,
Yes.
right? So BAPS Charities hosts an annual walkathon in over 65 cities in North
Hmm.
America. I'm just giving you a North America
Hmm.
perspective.
Hmm. Hmm.
And then the point of that activity is to encourage our volunteers to get out into the community in support of local efforts with a national global reach. So recently, for example, in the past, we have supported the Natural Conservancy. They have an initiative to plant 1 billion trees by in the next 20 years. What did that do? It united 55,000 volunteers and contributors together
Hmm.
around one goal. And that goal was to restore the trees that help our earth breathe. But what additionally did it do? It brought walkers from ranges of 2 years to 90 years old together. It set an example of how service can connect people across all generations.
Hmm.
So, we can't put dollar value to when you have a 2 year old and a 90-year-old going out there and spreading the message of service, that is valueless. And
Hmm.
that is why it is essential that when you're doing it as form of bhakti, which is essential, central piece of why our volunteers do what they do, we follow our guru's footsteps in the joy
Hmm.
of others, lives of our own. And our spiritual leader, Mansoi Maharaj, says, he teaches us that we must progress not at the cost of others, but sacrifice a part of ourselves for the good of others.
That's what
And
they
with
say
that thought,
charity.
we have this
That's what they say
contribution.
charity begins at home. You should be actually, not only charity begins at home in the form of only just giving money to that charity, but dedicating yourself to that organization, to that association, or whatever the samstha that you're part of. That's where charity begins at home means. Ranjini ji, question that I have for you: why Ekal Vidyalaya is a bit different than this is that because your, a dollar a day, it works very well. But you also need to find teachers out there who will agree to work with this certain amount to go out and teach children in the villages. It's not easy to go into villages to teach those, there are tribals, and then teach them and sacrifice their life and time. In today's day and age, everyone wants to live in a materialistic world, but they need to sacrifice that, go out there and sacrifice their salary also. Obviously that affects charity, the total volume of charity also. How do you get those people to convince? Because by doing that, they're also giving some charity through their time and sacrificing their life.
Absolutely. I think you brought up a very beautiful point. At ACL, our uniqueness is that we do not take teachers from the city and bring
Mm.
them into these villages. It's really hard, and this is
Yes.
why many other institutions, we hear of things where the teacher is not coming to the school or something like that, because it's just not a practical and viable solution. On
Mm.
the other hand, what we do is we take a local youth and train them to be a teacher. And one of the important trainings that we impart on this teacher is to convince them that they are the change agents. And by giving their time and by working at a very low cost, we just pay them an honorarium, they are actually doing something for their community. So it
Mm.
is actually their service. We always say every dollar of ACL is supported by $10 of volunteer service that has come from not just the volunteers in America or in India, but from the villagers themselves. It is
Mm.
that amount of sacrifice that is in them that makes us successful. Because if you do not have a teacher or a trainer who is committed to making a difference in the village, and they are committed because they know that this is their village, it
Mm.
will make them better. It is their family that they are making better. It's really charity beginning at home.
Yes. Yes.
That is a very important part of what we do, and that is why we are successful, and that is why we can take our schools and place them in 100,000 villages. I mean, there are not enough as many McDonald's in India, as we have. So the point of this model that we have is really scalable. It is really localized and sustainable. And the villagers love us because they know that we are here to make a difference for them, and we work with them. We
Mm.
work for them, with them. So everything is done. It is for the people, by the people, of the people. And that is
Bilkul.
what makes us very, very special, I think.
That's a very good concept, and it's been working very well. But I also I have noticed that throughout the year you organize events and mainly musical concerts to raise funds. I have seen that here in North America. Do you do that outside America as well to raise funds? And has it been very effective for you?
Yes, somehow the world at large loves Bollywood concerts. So we are really, really blessed that the idea that we had, which is just let us take a unit. We bring singers from India, and the central office organizes that as a team, and we just loan it out to each of the cities, and people love to come and listen to those songs. And because we work with the artists, we present songs that people like, and people come, they have a good time, they have a great time, because our artists are also very talented. So
Mm.
they come, they have a good time, and while they do that, when people are happy, they also have a tendency to give. So I think that
That is the
certainly
key thing. When they are happy, they have tendency to give. That is the
has.
key thing that you have just mentioned. We're going to continue to talk on that issue as we are halfway through in the show discussion point. Let me just remind listeners that they are listening right now, the discussion point on Radio Zingi on East Coast and the West Coast. As you know, listeners, on East Coast, we are on 5:40 a.m. New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, 13:10 a.m. up in Parsippany area, Morris County, and then 96.7 FM in Edison. And that's a Radio Zingi for you 24/7. On the West Coast, we're live on 11:70 a.m. The show, you can watch it live on the Facebook, Radio Zingi's Facebook page, which is Radio Zingi Tri-State for the East Coast, then Radio Zingi DC page as we are live on the DC area as well, and Radio Zingi's West Coast page. So you can watch us live. And today the topic is charity is backbone of humanity. And who would be better than these individuals to talk about Mr. Murli Krishnamurthy of Sankarai Foundation, Ms. Rajani Saigalji of Ekal Vidyalaya Foundation, and Mr. Yagnesh Patel of BAPS. So we are having very, very interesting conversation. Murliji,
Yes.
let's talk about charity.
Mhm.
Why do people have something, people are skeptical, let's put it that way. वो लोग क्यों ऐसा सोचते रहते हैं कि यार मैं charity दूंगा, but I don't know how much is going to go and if it's not going to go. So my one question is to you about that how why, how can you change people's mindset about when it comes to charity? And second is that, are you facing any difficulties from the government when you are trying to help out individuals by raising funds and setting up hospitals? Do you think government is more cooperative than ever before?
I think you asked a couple of very good questions, Sanjeev
Thank you.
ji.
Thank you.
Many of us don't somehow have a bad idea about a charity,
Uh,
especially in India, because I hope it's improving because of the widespread corruption. Even I was not ready, even though my uncle pushed me, and he's one of the golden-hearted persons. We only started after my brother went and saw the hospital for himself. So he came back, and Dr. Ramani and Dr. Radha Ramani, both are doctors. They gave up their profession, they're volunteering full time, and he is also a devotee of Sankaracharya, Kanchi Sankaracharya, which so that's why the name Sankara. But that did not stop me and my brother to start Sankara USA with a Pakistani friend of ours. So we are completely secular, but Dr. Ramani is surely inspired by Sankaracharya. So all that we see the work that gave us confidence. And here in the USA also, many people ask me, Murliji, we know you guys are very honest, we are sincerely working, but we don't know about India.
uh,
Then once we started sending certificates, Sanjeev ji, if you donate $30 to Sankara, you will first get a receipt. Second thing is our office will send you a certificate with a picture of the patient who was operated, age 43, from this village, left eye was operated. So you will get all that. That gives many donors call me. I remember, Murliji, I got this certificate. I feel so happy. So how
mm,
can I do more? I say, okay, become open an eye a month. Instead of
mm,
just one time, donate $30 every month. And then the Charity Navigator 4-star rating, which gives many big donors love that.
mm.
Charity Navigator 4-star rating, which basically, as I said, no, keeping the overheads low,
Yes.
accountability, transparency. Now we are also going to provide the India financials on our website. If you
Mm,
go to our website, giftofvision.org, under About Us, all the years 990, we go through grueling external audit. All the statements are available. Complete transparency. I tell people I have nothing to worry about it. You ask me something, how come that year you did not do well? That's how it is. We tried our best. So that honesty, it's completely is you can see feel it through the Sankara. So
mm.
that trust, you have to develop that trust. Now I am very confident that we can put anything in front of the donors, they will support us.
do
Because
you
22
do you
years,
do you get do you get any how do I say this, any negative remarks or any backlash from the other hospitals who also provide same cardiac surgery, but they are on a commercial base? That means, they're charging money for it and they're making money out of it. Do you face that any kind of backlash from them?
very good question. Some we are in some developed states also.
Yes.
I don't want to name any state. Some local ophthalmologists are surely against us. So we tell them, you do free eye surgeries, bhaiya. We are only doing free eye surgeries. But to become self-sufficiency, we also attract paying patients. So there is some friction in some places, not all the places, because Sanjeev, the need is so high.
Yes.
I tell people it's not a limited pond here, it's an ocean. सबके लिए पानी है. Why
Mm,
are you afraid? No, go to the tribal villages, help the poor. That's what we are doing. Our main thrust is helping the poor.
true.
And I am very happy to tell you that the current
Mm,
government helped us in many ways. For example, the Indore hospital land, prime
mm.
land in the city, was given to us at 25% of the cost.
Oh.
The current government was there.
Mm,
Similar thing happened in Jaipur. And like that, the current government is only helpful. And they
Nice.
gave Dr. Ramani a Padma Shri award, our
Mm,
founder. Yeah.
mm.
So as long as this government lasts, we want to eradicate blindness in India.
Very good. Very good. I like that spirit. Yagnesh bhai, let's talk about BAPS and the charity. That other things besides walkathon. I know what are the other areas where charity is being spent. Let's say we live in America. We know life in America, and then we are aware of the situation in India. But since BAPS is spread among several countries and in the five continents, give us an overview about other countries and the continents, how BAPS is helping out in the name of humanity.
Yeah, so BAPS Charities, we have five pillars that do our guiding work across the globe.
Mm,
One of them is health and wellness. So we have hospitals in India. We have, those those institutions, those buildings are when you have the need, acute or chronic medications, therapies needed. But what we have seen within the health banner is how do we educate on daily basis. So you will see activities such as health awareness lectures. You will see activities such as health camps, giving access to those who don't have access to healthcare insurance. They can come in, our volunteer doctors with their colleagues. So it's
mm,
not only just BAPS volunteers, but they're bringing their other colleagues, young interns, those who look into the health profession, participate in this and provide screening, so to give access to healthcare. The other piece, as I mentioned, is education. We have schools for girls. We have schools, we have boarding schools that has opened doors to education. As Ranjana Ben said earlier, the needs of ours is to our goal is to support those needs at grassroots level across the globe. The other
mm,
piece we do is environment. Environment is very essential. Pramukh Swami Maharaj, when he first built, planted trees, one of the things he said, this is God-given gift. Who can be the better stewards of protecting the nature than our youth? Sending that message, doing and environmental work. And I think the other pillar is humanitarian. So
mm.
across the time, whether it's earthquakes, whether it's a dam broken down in 1917 Morbi, Gujarat earthquake. To give you an example, during Gujarat earthquake, it was a very uh, unfortunate situation that occurred. Lives
Yes.
were lost. There was a
Mm,
lot of turmoil, a lot of scare. But
mm,
the volunteers and Swamiji's vision, it was not to only acutely take care of what the need of the hour was, but also thought about their food. And it's unique to learn this, that it is building that person back up. The
yes.
hospitals can be built, highways
Yeah.
can be built, but how do you bring the person back out of this calamity and nurture them towards a life that they can live after this calamity? And the other piece is community activities, making impacts in the local community. So whether you go to India, in Asia, Africa, Europe, uh, if you look at the actions that we take in North America. For example, Katrina, in
Mm,
Hurricane
mm,
Katrina, our volunteers took it upon themselves to get the dry wells, clean it up. COVID-19, we live in unprecedented times right now. COVID-19 is a human issue, not a country or a global or a creed issue. We have to come together. If we humans don't help, who is going to help us?
absolutely.
And if you see that is the global effort, COVID-19, we have done. And in COVID-19 we learned that we engaged our young when they were when we create cooked food packages.
Mm,
uh, a thank you note went from a young child
mm,
thanking that healthcare worker, that thank you for your efforts. What happened through that? And to all the listeners, where you have listeners across the country, across the globe, different age groups, instill in that value of humility. So Brahman Swami Maharaj says this: there are three factors that can help somebody to enrich their spirit of service. One is be humble. Murli ji said it very good. We are, as humans race, the first thing is to be humble. Second, find no faults in others.
Yeah.
Everybody, including my co-host, we are all here together to do something in the joy of others. And the third principle that he always talks about is foster unity. Our organizations that all of them are doing, we're all rivers going towards that same ocean of charity, giving
mm.
back, doing something for humanity. If we humans don't do for our humanity, then
And
who
who's
is
going to
going to
do it?
do it for us?
Absolutely, very well said. I
Okay,
see that
very
you
nice.
have a, yep, I see you have a very strong influence of Pramukh Swami Maharaj, and you are fully dedicated to BAPS. It's very interesting. We're having some great conversation here, and I want listeners and the viewers to know that every single dollar that you donate, right now we are talking to these three organizations, the individuals, Sankarai Foundation, Ekal Vidyalaya, and BAPS, is that some money is going out to that needy one out there, to underprivileged individual out there. Someone is getting some help, and that is in the name of humanity. Ranjini ji, pardon me if I ask this question, but I want to ask this question. I couldn't stop myself, and let me just ask you this question. Ekal Vidyalaya, you help out this education over in India to in the tribal villages and the children over there. That's a great thing to do. You organize many events here in North America to raise funds. Have you ever considered, the thought has ever come to Ekal Vidyalaya to recognize the bright children here in the USA who may come from poor family or may need some help for the college education, and since certain portion of your charity incoming is from North America, why not give something here in the US also?
Beautiful question. One is that very important point is that our 501c3 is registered with a specific purpose in mind, and the
Hmm.
purpose is to give the monies to India. So we cannot just randomly give monies to different causes. This is true of all of us. We
Okay.
declare what we are doing, and we do
Hmm.
it well. But what we are doing at this time is actually ACL is very much involving the youth in a very big way. It's interesting to see, especially during COVID times, there are so many young volunteers who are offering courses in a variety of topics for other children. Some are
Hmm.
offering Python training, some is offering art classes, and they are offering that to other children, and they are charging quote unquote money that is all donation to ACL. So
Hmm.
what we are doing in America is really just like what Yagnesh Bhai said, is that promoting that spirit of doing good and also really teaching each other. There's nothing stopping us from encouraging a less privileged child to teach a child that
Hmm.
our organization is not prevented from doing. So we are certainly using our resources to make an impact in different ways that will be allowed in a legal fashion, and
Sure,
we are
absolutely.
constantly reaching out, in fact, into the schools. Into These are not just Indian kids that we are
Hmm.
reaching out to.
Hmm.
These might be non-Indian kids, and anytime there's a
Good.
child who is underprivileged and is unable to pay for this, it's a donation. So nothing is compulsory, so it's an offer that we have had. And our art classes, especially, we have this indie art competition coming, and we
Hmm.
have these ambassadors, art ambassadors, who are very talented artists who are offering these art workshops. And people in COVID times are learning to paint, learning to be happy while making a small donation to our cause. So I think we cannot obviously give financial gain, but we are working very hard in multiple dimensions. We made face masks, for example, and
Yes.
gave it to frontline. Our volunteers in America made, I think, 300,000 face masks and gave it to frontline workers. Our teachers in India made 1.2 million face masks to give it out to rural,
Awesome.
remote police people, to hospitals, because in rural, remote villages there was no access. So in our
Amazing.
skill training centers, where we had our tailoring, trainees, they did that. So really, there's multiple things that we do. Of course, our donation has to be very structured by what we have set out as in our, declaration for what we do.
But the point is that here in USA, for US children, obviously of South Asian origin, there should be something out there for them as well, because there may be very bright kids, and I have seen that. Unfortunately, cannot go to any very well known universities, high profile universities, because of the financial thing up there. But if there is something like Ekal Vidyalaya who is out there helping out kids in education in India, there should be something done.
Yeah, I think there are some organizations that are focusing on that. One thing I will say about America, for everybody to know, that if there is a kid who is financially, they have to be legally financially being unable to pay the money, they will get the financial scholarship. FAFSA ensures that. So I
Yes.
just wanted to make that very clear. In America, that opportunity is very different from India. If you
Mm.
actually do not have the means, most top level universities are indeed need blind. So I
Mm.
think that's something to remember. But who knows what the future of universities is going to be after COVID
Well,
times, with
well, again,
online and all of that coming into being. Yeah,
COVID, COVID time, that's okay. But I think future would be too far because we didn't know back in November 2019 that this pandemic will come in and will change lives. But I have a feeling that our lives will get normal, if not next year, maybe later next year, or we'll get back to normal once the vaccine is fine. Once there is a working medicine found, it's going to be okay. Then we should be looking at it. After pandemic also, in the name of humanity, charity should continue. Murliji, for
Yes.
Sankrai Foundation, what are your future projects and where are you planning to build another hospital to help out the needy ones?
Oh, very good. We are getting, see, in India, we get help from big companies like
Mm,
Junjunwala Foundation gave us land in Panvel. They are also giving 50% of the construction cost. So
mm,
our 11th hospital will be ready in December
mm,
in Panvel, Mumbai. That will be called, because he is giving the lion's share of the funds, it will be called Junjunwala Sankarai Hospital. And in Hyderabad, again, the current government gave us land at a very cheap lease for a lot of years. So we have raised enough money to start the construction. We are just waiting for some approval. There was a nalla going there, and then some little bit. So we are dealing with the government to get the final
mm,
approval. The construction should start this year. And the
mm.
most exciting project for me, our 13th hospital, we are joining hands with Akhanda Jyoti Eye Hospital in Mastichak near Patna. It's a poor state. I tell people, land of Mahavir, land of Buddha, and land of Guru Gobind Singh. So we need to make this state glorious state again, Nalanda University. So Bihar may, I don't want to blame Biharis. When I go there, there's a lot of chaos on the roads and all that traffic signal.
Mm.
बिहार में ऐसा ही होता है जी. नहीं 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 नहीं, we have to change our attitude. So we want to go there, build a grand hospital, another hospital, 300 bed hospital. So that construction, Mrutyunjay Tiwari, founder of Akhand Jyoti, has promised will start in December if we raise the sufficient money. So from now until end of next year, I'm busy. I'll be busy with that.
Mm. Now, when it comes to charity, there are people who donate, who give money, I know, out of love, respect, and they do it with heart. But there are people who do it for the opportunity. That means photo of opportunity. When there's a celebrity out there, they want to have a picture taken and they want to say, okay, I'll give you X amount of dollars, but I want to have a picture taken in the name of charity. What is your experience in regards to that? Because you've organized many musical events and
Correct.
celebrities.
No, no. As Yagnesh Bhai said, I am not here to judge anybody. So people are all in different stages of spiritual progress. So some people love the opportunity of taking a picture with Sonu Nigam and all that. So they get to sit in the front row,
Front row.
and then they get a pre-event reception, fantastic reception. And just after the event is over, they get a photo with Sonu Nigam, and we send it, and we get big money for that. So even though we all want to be beyond that, we still cater to the needs of the people. I don't want to judge people. There's a need out there. We want to serve. So it does
Mm.
happen.
It doesn't kind of make you a bit, I guess, how do I say this, angry or upset, saying that, listen, charity is charity, but you want to do it for your name and fame, but eventually money is coming in, so you basically, you have to surrender.
Yeah, see, Sanjeev ji, one gentleman, Gujarati gentleman, has given us $9.5 million so far.
Mm.
Nobody, we don't even have his number. Only I have his number in my phone. I call it God. I did not even put his
Wow.
name. Because
Yeah.
he used to call 750,000, 1.25, 2.5, 5 million. No name, nobody knows. But
Wow.
many people are motivated by their parents' name for $1,000, founding donor. So that's okay, no? I want to
Mm.
put my father's name, at least that is beyond me. I'm a little
Mm.
bit selfless there, not putting my name, I putting my father's name. That's a
Mm.
very successful product. $1,000 in Gujarat, we have thousand donors giving $1,000, $1 million. So
Yes.
that's a big source of revenue for us.
Mm.
So we do promote that.
Okay. All right. Let's come to now BAPS. Question I have, Yagnesh Bhai, is that Sankrai Foundation building hospitals, BAPS through temples, raising charities, and helping out many, needy causes and helping out many individuals. Why not have something called a hospital where there is almost a free surgery or free treatment needed? Because let's put it this way, Ranjini ji brought up this pandemic issue, and through pandemic issue that we have learned that hospitals are much more needed now. Temples are good, but hospitals are much more needed. During this pandemic, temples were closed because all the guards were busy in the hospitals taking care of the patients. Okay, so have you thought of setting up some kind of medical centers under name of BAPS for the community?
So great point, Sanjeev Bhai. And actually, our gurus have. So if you look at our hospitals in India, we have Yogi Ji Maharaj Hospital in Ahmedabad. We have Pramukh Swami Maharaj Eye Hospital in Surat.
Mm,
In the countries, we have these hospitals were built with that intent,
mm,
bringing modern technology, modern healthcare professionals. Many of those administrators of those hospitals are also full-time volunteers. They were professionals themselves who gave up their careers and became full-time
mm,
administrators of this hospital. So that hospital work is all in parallel. As I mentioned earlier, BAPS Charities is a organization that is independent of BAPS. BAPS volunteers enact their spirit of service, what they learn from the spiritual temples of BAPS. They take that learnings and enrichment of their spirit and put it in action through BAPS charities. So when you
mm,
look at BAPS charities, its funding, what people donate to it, its projects are all organic within the funding that is available. That that funding then supports hospitals, healthcare, blood drives. We have built schools where the needs are. We have also within America for the youth SAT classes, ACT classes. So we do all those additional work that we do on ongoing basis through
good.
the BAPS Charities platform.
Okay. Is it only, how are you letting other people know about all the charity work that you're doing? It is it only you can find it in Temple, or you can find it somewhere else where people would know that my $100, $1,000, X amount of dollars are being spent in various projects?
Yeah, and that's a great question, and we live in a day of technology,
Mm,
and you will see that our all our efforts are actually on bapscharities.org. It gives you our global landscape of what we offer, and based on what the donor would like to give, what
mm,
their interest is. If their interest is towards health, you have a health platform. If their interest is towards education, you have education. In health, we have vans, for example, in India that go into rural areas. These are mobile medical vans that they can contribute towards. If the donor would like to give towards environment, we have an
mm,
environmental cause. So humanitarian cause and also community activities. So the donor has a diverse option of where they would like to contribute based on their interest and whatever value they would like to give. I'll
mm,
tell you an example. Whenever we open, for example, COVID-19, earthquake, or hospitals, folks just donate knowing to, I think Murliji said, credibility.
credibility, yes.
BAPS charities credibility clearly shows from the
Mm,
spirit of service of the donors who are looking at BAPS charities to open their paths for them. An individual in America has $10. They want to
mm,
give towards something, but where do they
yes.
go? They look at our organization,
Mm,
Murliji, Ranjana Ben's, ours,
mm,
to see, what, these guys are doing something. We become that bridge
yes.
between their donation and the activities we would like to do.
Excellent. Credibility and consistency is the key thing, and making sure that if someone's dollar comes in, that dollar has to be spent in a various ways. Murliji, question that I want to ask you quickly is that, let's say if given an opportunity, if someone says you're doing fine job with Sankarai Foundation, actually not you, but Sankarai Foundation is doing
Yes.
fine job, and with the eye hospitals, what is the other thing that could be much needed? What kind of medical need out there for poor people in India, that if they can be cured, those poor people lives can get better?
I don't understand. In medical, in addition to
in
money,
in
what?
it's in a way, let's say you were helping with the eyes, you were
Uh,
helping with the eyes. What is the other thing that can be done addressing that? There are many people suffering with that certain thing besides eye, that if there can be surgery centers over there, their lives can be better.
oh, there are so many. The
Hmm.
heart, diabetes is a big problem in India. No, that is we are expecting a big spurt in diabetic retinopathy. There are unlimited causes, Sanjeev ji.
Would you
I
be would
cannot.
you would Sankarai Foundation would be setting up another angle to help out in the other areas as well?
Not right now, because this itself is a big need. By
Hmm.
we doing 1 million surgeries every year by 2030 is only still not a big part of the whole problem.
Oh.
We need, there are 4 or 5 million backlog is already there.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to think beyond our current goal. There's so much need. 25, 30 million people are visually handicapped, Sanjeev ji.
Oh,
I'm hoping
wow.
that this government will also do something about it. Okay.
Okay.
So
All right.
right now our hands are full.
Very good. Thank you. Ranjani ji, in closing comments, we have little less than 5 minutes to go to. What are your closing comments for Ekal Vidyalaya?
We are really, really grateful to ACL, the donors and supporters in USA. I would take a little different take. I think people have big heart here. Really, I do feel that, and I do feel that people do want to give, and
Ah.
the only reason that they may not give is because they don't know what is happening to their dollar so far away. India is so far away from us, so they are like, oh my god, we don't know what is going on. So
Mm.
we are really grateful, because it is with the help of these donors and supporters that we are today in 100,000 villages. I mean, this is not a trivial thing, that, and we could not have done that without their help. But moving
Mm.
forward, actually, we are having even more, the other aspects of our ambitions we would like to fulfill. One of them is definitely to make our villages self-sustaining. We want to
Yes.
get off the charity roles. We want to make it that the villagers are empowered economically, so they support the schools themselves. We don't want any charity money coming. Even
Mm.
now, about 30% of our villages are self-sustaining. They don't go on charity rolls. So we are really pushing forward two very important programs. One is our skill training program, which, especially now with COVID, migrant workers are coming back to the village. They don't want to go to the city. So it is very important for us to provide right training for them, right economic opportunities for them. So
Mm.
Gramothan is working very hard in tailoring computer skills, mobile repair, and other opportunities that really is moving them forward. We are working very hard to bring digital literacy. We have these
Nice.
mobile computer labs that are going into the villages and bringing digital literacy, because again, that is very, very key to our support. And finally, in the area of health, telehealth has become a very important aspect, especially now that COVID has
Mm.
struck. We know that it provides a great opportunity for us to bring health services to villages like ours where there is really no health services. So we are really working on these other arms, in addition, of course, to the Vidyalayas, because that is our infrastructure. It is that allows us to go into the village. So we
And
do need our.
after all the years, the support that you have gotten, the love and the feelings that you have gotten from your supporters year after year, after event after year, that has put you in this position that you're so confident about it. Very good.
Yes.
Thank you so much for your time. Murliji, quickly, your closing comments about Sankarai Foundation.
Yeah, basically, again, I want to mention our 1,000. I'm sure they also have
Hmm.
1,000 volunteers all over the country slogging so much for this, and almost 90,000 donors. Ours is many small drops make an ocean. We have a few high donors, but most of them are 100,000. So basically, we really thank them for this, what they have made it. I tell them it's your hospital, you need to make it happen. I put the
Absolutely.
responsibility on volunteers and donors. And finally, amazing interview, Sanjeev, as always, very
Thank you.
deep, very thought out,
Thank you.
brilliant questions to all of us. Really appreciate
Thank
the
you.
opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you. And I enjoy your company as well. Yagnesh Bhai, your closing comments.
Thank you, Sanjeev Bhai, and also giving us the opportunity to be with Murli Ben and Rajni Ben. I think to all the listeners, all these organizations are doing great work. I think each one of us is a human person. We all have a spirit to do something different for others.
Hmm.
And when we come together collectively, no matter what cause you believe in, no matter what organization you want to donate to, BAPS Charities, as the message is, be humble, find no faults in others, foster unity, there is no limit on what you can do in the joy of others. And with
Awesome.
that, I encourage all the listeners and us, as I said, if we humans don't do what we do for humanity, who else
Who's
is
going to
going to
do?
come and do it for
Absolutely,
us?
Yagnesh Bhai. Thank you so very much. Yagnesh Bhai, Murli ji, Ranjani ji, thank you so very much. This has been very, very empowering, very enlightening conversation. And I want to let listeners know that transparency, credibility, honesty, these are the things we have learned from these three individuals who are associated, were part of these very well-known organizations. And be kind, be generous, and do consider giving out something to help out a needy one, as we have come to know, when I came to know that how everyone's dollar is being used in the name of humanity, through education, or to even giving a life to someone they can see, and through many other humanitarian work, relief effort that BAPS is doing. Keep up the great work. Thank you so very much, and God bless you all, and maybe we'll reconnect again in the future.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you
You're
so very
awesome.
much. All right. Thank you so very much. With that note, we come to an end of this discussion point right here on Radio Zingi. East Coast and West Coast. It is 1 p.m. time. And next week on a discussion point, we
It's so good to see you, Murali.
I think they're still recording, I think. Uh, nice. Yeah, yeah. Great, great, great opportunity. Maja aa gaya.
मजा आ गया. See you later. I think
Yeah,
maybe
okay.
we'll stop. I don't know how it is, but
Bye.
we'll wait and see.
Those deductions available as per guidelines.
Thank you, Ranjani ji. Thank you.